Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about India's foreign policy challenges. First of all, let us understand what is the current affair. India has certain domestic issues and along with that there are challenges at the international level. That means the relationship of India with the rest of the world also faces certain challenges. So this needs attention and this must be resolved at the international level. So this is the current affair and based on this, let us understand the foreign policy challenges of the country. Now coming to the key areas of India's foreign policy, let us understand the foreign policy and foreign policy challenges of India with key associates or key countries. The first one is India and China foreign relations. China is the Asia's economic superpower or the Asian superpower is China. And therefore, the geostrategic and economic relationship between India and China will influence the Indian economy to a larger extent. And the relationship between India and China will not only have an impact on Indo-China relations, but also it impacts relationship of India with other countries like the United States of America, like countries like Russia, Japan, etc. So it is very significant how we maintain a foreign relationship with China. So since China and India have many common interests, there is a huge opportunity for developing the foreign relations between both these countries. And in order to enhance the foreign relations between both these countries, Wuhan meeting was held between the heads of both the countries. And also a positive indication is the cooling of Doklam standoff tensions. Even though these are all some of the positive aspects that redefine the Chinese-India relationship, there are many other tensions, many other differences of opinion between both these countries, India and China. So with regard to India-China foreign relations, there are new areas of emerging differences as well as new areas of emerging opportunities. So it is a mix of both opportunities as well as differences. Now with regard to China, regarding the trading relations or economic relations, recently China and United States were involved in a trade war and this has impacted the Chinese exports to United States, and because of the trade war, China has lost or China has lesser access to US markets. So now China is trying to bridge this gap by exporting or by trading with other countries in the region. So China is more focusing on regional level in order to improve the bilateral trade relations with other countries in the region. And also China is trying to influence the neighbors in the region by undertaking developmental activities, by providing developmental finance, by providing financial, technological and military support, etc. to the neighboring countries in the region. So China is trying to influence or expand its power also. So in this context, there is a need for a new arrangement, and the already existing arrangement or the framework was framed in 1988 during Rajiv Gandhi's visit to China. So now there is a need to build a new arrangement between India and China. And the new arrangement should focus on certain things which China and India have a common interest. First one, it should focus on respect for each other's core interest. So by engaging in a better bilateral relation between China and India, it should focus on protecting or respecting the interest of both the countries, and also new areas of cooperation should be developed. For example, counter-terrorism, marine security, crisis management. So these are areas where both the countries have common interest. So a new framework must focus on all this. And thirdly, a clearer understanding of each other's sensitivities. And the foreign policy should also focus on settling or managing the differences between both these countries. And also it should focus on a strategic dialogue about actions on the international stage. For example, we have seen the recent crisis in the World Trade Organization WTO. So there is an ongoing crisis in the dispute settlement mechanism of WTO. So countries like China, India are all promoters of multilateralism. So in the international fora, these countries can come together for a common cause. So such type of developments must be enhanced between both these countries. So this is in brief about India-China relations. Now secondly, we will see India-Pakistan relations. In case of India-Pakistan relation, we see that the bilateral engagement between both these countries is becoming increasingly communal in nature. For example, Kartarpur corridor. India is still doubtful about the Kartarpur corridor decision, and also there are security related concerns between India and Pakistan. Other challenges for India is India's insecurities from the consolidation of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or the CPEC. So large security issues between India and Pakistan is a major challenge in India's foreign policy with Pakistan, and bilateral relations between Pakistan is largely of communal in nature. Now let us understand the relationship of India with its neighbours. What are the challenges here? India is driven by the vision of itself as a self-declared regional superpower. But the self-declaration of India as a regional superpower is undermined by smaller countries in the Southern Asia. The smaller countries in the Southern Asia, they are deciding to leverage China's ambitions in the region, particularly the Indian Ocean region. They are taking China's assistance in developmental projects, in building infrastructure, in security projects, etc. So they are leveraging themselves to China. So these small countries in the South Asia, they are leveraging China's ambitions in the region, especially in the Indian Ocean region. And India has fought back against China's expansionist policy by backing the political parties and leaders in these countries whom it sees as being more pro-New Delhi. So as a counter towards China's expansionist policies, India has adopted a policy of backing up the political parties and leaders in some of the countries in its neighborhood. For example, Sri Lanka, Maldives. India has been supporting the government formation or political stability in these countries. But even the pro-India leaders in these countries do not like to take India's domination. The leaders in these countries are also not ready to take up the domination by India. Let us take an example, Nepal. In Nepal, India's promises to speed up the long pending projects, they have not yet become successful. Another example is Bhutan. Bhutan is also now not ready to take any developmental assistance from India. It wants more trade and investment for employment. So now they are not focusing on the hydropower project with India. We have discussed about India-Bhutan relations. Please refer to the video on India-Bhutan relations where we have discussed about the hydropower project and what is the demand from Bhutan and what are the prospects of India-Bhutan relations, what are the challenges, etc. Now, for Bhutan, they want to create more employment opportunities. Now, with Bhutan, India must be able to use or utilize the opportunity that is posed by Bhutan. So, from this, it is understood that a much or larger portion of India's problems in the neighborhood has arisen from viewing these countries through a security prism. But China views these countries from a bigger angle or a big picture. Now coming to India-US relationship. With the Trump administration, what we see between India and US is that there is an improved or enhanced relationship between India and United States under the Trump administration. Both the countries have signed the COMCASA agreement, that is Communications and Compatibility and Security Agreement, which was signed recently. So with the signing of the COMCASA agreement, this will facilitate interoperability between both the militaries, Indian military and US military, and also this will facilitate the sale of high-end technology from US to India. And Trump also hailed India as a key player in a free and open Indo-Pacific over the China-dominant Asia-Pacific. So we will see that there is an improvement in the relationship between India and United States. There are also other reasons. For example, the J meeting which was held between Japan, US and India under the sidelines of G20 meeting. There was also the 2+2 dialogue between both the countries. US has also given sanctions waiver. So in all these aspects, we will see an improved or enhanced relationship between India and the United States. But there is also a downside to it. What are they? The challenges are that the US protectionism on the trade front. So protectionism policy of United States is one major challenge. Second challenge is the US visa rules hurting the Indian professionals. We have discussed about the visa rules under the H1B visa regulations or revised H1B visa regulations. You can find the video on StudyIQ channel. So this is also another challenge which will impact the relationship between both these countries. And another major challenge would be US coalition course with Iran, which will impact the oil purchases of India from Iran. And also the Iran's issue with US, this could also adversely impact the operability of the Chabahar port. India has built Chabahar port as an alternative route to trade with Afghanistan. So the relationship between India and US can be impacted with the operation of the Chabahar port. Another concern with regard to India-US relationship is that India has purchased S-400 air shield system from Russia, and this could possibly attract US sanctions. So this is with regard to India-US relationship. And if we take generally India's foreign relations with any country, the major challenge is that India is not able to keep up the pace with the rapid changes happening elsewhere in the world because of the political issues in the country. So India should be able to improve the foreign relations with other country even when there is a political instability in the country. Now let us try to answer a UPSC Mains model question. The question is, what is meant by Gujarat Doctrine and does it have any relevance today? Discuss. So this is the question. Please try to answer this question. I'll give you broad guidelines regarding how to answer this question. You can start the answer by defining what is Gujarat Doctrine. And under what is Gujarat Doctrine, you can explain the set of 5 principles that guides the conduct of foreign relations with India's immediate neighbors, especially Pakistan. So you have to highlight the 5 principles in the Gujarat Doctrine, and you should also explain in the next paragraph what are the key points in Gujarat's doctrine and what is the political significance and also what are the criticisms. And next paragraph you should explain the second part of the question, that is relevance, whether Gujarat Doctrine has a relevance today, and you should also give a concluding paragraph. And this concluding paragraph or the conclusion should explain whether it is needed or not. So whether we need it or not should be in the concluding paragraph. Here you should give your own ideas. So this is how you can answer this question. Please try to attempt this question and send the answers to my mail joyce.studyiq@gmail.com, or you can inbox me in my Facebook page. Thank you.